Time for our 360 round. We're diving into the state of retail ahead of earnings for Target and TJX and beyond. For that, let's bring in our panel. We've got Spencer Hakimian, Chief Investment Officer, Toulouse Capital Management, and Tsvetta Kaleynska, founder and CEO of Arela Global Consulting. Thank you both for joining us today. Spencer, I'll start with you. So we've got Target and TJX in front of us. I'm curious to know your expectations. I feel like it's going to be a different picture for each one of them.
Yeah, so thank you for having me. Let's start with Target. What we're really looking for here, especially after Walmart guided, is will they provide any guidance for the full year? Will they confirm their guidance? Will they change it? And then specifically, we're going to be looking at, do they make any commentary on any price hikes or not? We know it's a very sensitive topic right now. And we just want to see as well, do they expect these tariffs, all this uncertainty, to be changing their profit margin for the year? As you know, retailers like Target are already running on pretty thin profit margins. So any marginal hit can disproportionately impact their free cash flow. So that's something that we'll definitely be looking for.
Okay, we'll get into TJX in a moment. I'm glad you started with Target. Tsvetta, I know you have some insight when it comes to Target. They've had a lot of challenges, right? And it's like they can't seem to get out of their own way. They had issues going back a couple of years ago with the Pride collection and pulling that back, and then more recently rolling back of DEI, and they had this consumer boycott as well. What are you hearing in terms of what the consumer footprint looks like there?
Great question. So I've been analyzing over the last 12 months what have really consumers and investors been saying online about both Target and TJ Maxx. When it comes to Target, as you mentioned, they have seen quite a bit of different nuances in terms of what has happened brand-wise, brand identity-wise. They have been much more politicized, especially with the 2023 backlash with the placement of specific designers, LGBTQI-friendly designers. And I think that it is very clear that since then consumers have expressed more negative sentiment in terms of how they perceive the brand itself. So there's a bit of identity crisis when it comes to the Target specifically.
Okay, definitely it seems like that, the identity crisis, and also part of the problem that they have going on there is just price and consumers looking for better options. And so you saw this transition of consumers in 2022, peak inflation, where you saw the shift in a higher income shopper going over to Walmart. Spencer, I'm sure you've done some channel checks about that and seen that pattern there. But I'm curious to know what's your expectation when you think about TJX. When you look at the stock, it's outperformed the S&P 500 so far year to date. What are you expecting coming into their latest quarterly results?
So I am really looking for how did they navigate the April, all of the tariff uncertainty. A retailer like TJX has to place their orders well in advance of when they actually get it. So did they choose to hold off on inventory? Did they front load their inventory? How did things like the de minimis exceptions affect them? Because you know, TJX is more of a lower cost or a value retailer. So you know, those things like de minimis where you can buy direct from a Chinese factory could disproportionately hurt someone like TJX. So I'm just looking for their commentary. Frankly, I don't really care how they did in Q1. Because Q1, to me, that world is
gone.
Is gone. So for better or worse, I want to know, do they make comments about what is going on in the forward quarters? And if they do, that'll be what I'm really looking for.
I do wonder if they've overbought, for instance, because there's one near here, near the stock exchange, that I go in probably a little too often. Part of it is just to look around. Now, one thing I did notice is traffic is still high there. I mean, there was one day I was in there, I was like, I gotta leave because the line was way too long. At the same time, I saw a lot of things on clearance, so I do wonder if they overbought. What are you seeing in terms of the trends when it comes to TJX, Tsvetta?
TJX, wow, boy, what a positive outlook. Let me tell you, 30% of the consumers who talked about TJ Maxx online, literally just in the last few months, said that they are repeat customers. So how the brand has actually shaped itself is very loyal. So they have a very loyal customer. They're very beloved. They're beloved for their plethora of designers that they carry, and also for the ability to give the customer the luxurious feeling, which the customer actually did not say that same thing about Target. So consumers are much more optimistic. They love the TJ Maxx brand, and it's not only about TJ Maxx here, because let's think TJ Maxx does have Sierra, they have Home Goods, HomeSense, and they're also international. So much more positive outlook, both from consumers and from investor conversations in terms of how that stock would perform in comparison to last year, but also on the long term and long run, how they will perform as a company.
Okay. Spencer, you'll get the final thought here. What's your view overall on the retail sector? Is there one beyond, it doesn't have to be TJX or Target that you like, especially if you see, for instance, Walmart talked about having to raise prices. Is that your expectation for the road going forward? And who stands to benefit in juggling any impact and exposure to tariffs?
So it's so variable because we really do not know. We can wake up tomorrow in a brand new world in terms of the tariff rates on which countries, which ones don't have it. So it is a variable question. But there are two things I'm looking for in 2025 as an investor.
Okay.
I'm looking for, one, where are they shipping from and what are those rates? How much can they absorb? How much can their vendors absorb? How much can their customers absorb? We have a savings rate in our country of about 4%. I don't know how much pricing increases consumers can absorb right now. Then I'm also looking for, even if we back off all these tariffs, well, if people front-loaded all of those, if companies front-loaded all of those purchases, right, are they now stuck with extra inventory on their shelves that they have to move before Christmas time, before new products come on? And then in that case, does that hurt their margin just because they got to sell some stuff at a cheaper price? So these are the things I'm cautious about and I'm looking for.
No, you make a great point because I was wondering why it seemed like a lot of summer stuff was on clearance at TJX, which is, kind of you buy what's in season, when in season there. So it would be interesting to see if they actually overbought there. We'll have to leave our conversation there. Thank you, Spencer and Tsvetta. That's Spencer Hakimian, Tulu Capital Management, and Tsvetta Kaleynska, Ryla Global Consulting.